Pastoral livelihoods are largely devastated due to prolonged severe scarcity of water and pasture. Millions of animals, the mainstay of these communities' economy, have died, rendering families extremely vulnerable and unable to meet their needs without assistance. In response, the government has had to reorganize its budget at the expense of many other programs and projects in order to mobilize resources needed to cushion millions of Kenyans from the effects of this drought. As I told you last year, the trade-offs and hard choices forced on us by this emergency underscores its nature and magnitude and points us in the direction of highly plausible future trends and scenarios unless we engage in realistic changes to what we are doing. Since September 2021, the national government has spent more than 32 billion to cushion lives and livelihoods. This includes 4.9 billion which the government mobilized since September last year and allocated towards immediate life-saving interventions, and a further 1.4 billion dispersed as cash transfers under the Hunger Safety Net program. Our focus has been on relief, food distribution, emergency relief cash transfers, school feeding program, water-related interventions, and livestock offtake programs. And as I did commit, we are going to partner with our county governments, especially on the subject of school feeding program, because aside from enhancing our enrollment in schools, it is sometimes the only source of food in some communities. And therefore, we're going to enhance our budget this year from 2 billion shillings that was itemized for school feeding to 6 billion shillings, and we expect that our counties will match. We have undertaken that every county that is going to participate in this program, we're going to match shilling for shilling so that we can improve the nutrition in our schools and keep our children in class. The interventions under consideration for the medium term include diversification of activities and value chains, mitigation of dependence on rain-fed agriculture, construction of strategic water reservoirs, dams, ponds, and strengthening pastoral supply chains. I would really appreciate a lot of support in matters environment. I am very happy that there is a conversation in this room about supporting our Kenya Forest Service and Carefree for us to walk the journey of greening our country as part of the efforts that we must make to deal with matters of climate change. We would be exploring opportunities on what partnership we can put together so that we can do more with our environment and do more especially with our water harvesting efforts. In the budget, we are working on how to do more of the micro dams so that we can harvest the water when the rain comes. We are looking long-term at water harvesting efforts, working with the private sector, and I must congratulate the private sector for coming through to have a conversation with us on matters water harvesting, hopefully before May. I'm sure Engineer Gitonga, you will confirm, before May, we should be able to launch the first 3 or so dams under our new program of private-public partnership and water purchase agreement instruments. This way, we can begin the journey to find some long-term solutions in ensuring that we have water and we manage the effects of climate change. I must also say that For the long term, we are committed to undertake substantial interventions to mitigate and reverse the effects of climate change and restore the national forest and tree cover of our country. As you are aware, we are already working on the program that will see us plant 15 billion trees, including 1 million trees every year in the city of Nairobi. Since all of us live in this city, I think we should just allocate each and every one of us how many trees they are going to plant in the city of Nairobi as a ticket for living in this city. We recognize our current crisis as a devastating signal of steadily worsening climate crisis, which is chiefly caused by human activity and can also be managed through more responsible stewardship of our national heritage. By launching the National Presidential Reforestation Program aimed at planting 15 billion trees over the next decade, we have signaled the seriousness, magnitude, and ambition of our undertaking to rehabilitate the environment for the sake of life on Earth, not just in Kenya. As humanity, we stand to benefit immensely from ecological restoration and correction of Earth's vital systems. And this is not going to be an individual effort. It is going to be a collective assignment for all of us as humanity and from across the globe. For the people of Kenya, the commitment to do our part is absolute, and our government must therefore move decisively to actualize this aspiration. We sincerely thank our development partners, the private sector and other non-state actors who have complemented our drought mitigation efforts. We estimate that they have so far plugged in over 48 billion for various drought response interventions where they are needed most. I know the numbers go beyond there. The worsening drought situation requires us to urgently scale up response, especially interventions to avert widespread distress and suffering. The assessment team that we have listened to this afternoon has identified priority interventions that include enhanced food assistance and cash transfers, health and nutrition interventions, sustained support for water supply, sanitation and hygiene, livestock feeds, off-take program, and veterinary services, school feeding programs, peace and security initiatives, and drought recovery support in the agricultural sector. In the latest supplementary budget, we have set aside an additional 6 billion shillings for drought response intervention for the period between February and May 2023. This is a discussion that is currently live in Parliament, and we hope that that discussion can be expedited so that we can access these resources. And I am hopeful that similarly the private sector-led National Steering Committee, ably led by Peter Ndegwa, will work with us, and they have raised 650 million, as he told us, some of which has gone towards relief food distribution, while the rest has been committed to supporting water interventions such as boreholes and dams in affected counties. We did ask Peter also, who is the CEO of Safaricom, that all bonga points amounting to 800 million by government and government agencies be made available so that we can buy food for the deserving regions. And I am happy, Peter tells me by next week we will have that money so that we can buy additional food for people to feed.